Really, it's like 30 seconds, 45 seconds, and then we go live on Instagram too.
Okay, sweet.
But let me just begin kind of telling you a little bit about what's going on here.
Mhm.
So this is For My Life, Project Refit. What's up, everybody? James Corbett, and we got Rocco here.
What up? I'm back.
What up? And here we go. We go live on Instagram. And today, what we're aiming to do is get your story, Joe. I want to know about you. I want to know what makes you tick. I want to know what you're doing, where you came from. And I want to know because it looks like you actually have a very lively personality, very lit up. You seem like somebody who's living out a purpose.
Yeah.
That means that you didn't have a purpose at one point and you were trying to find that. And I want to know how you ended up deciding when you were for your life, right? Because usually FML means fuck my life, but in this case, it means for my life. And we're really trying to get you to share that out, your journey, how you got to this point. And let's do it, baby.
Yeah. So I was born and raised in Cleveland. I have a brother. I have a younger brother, older brother. I have a sister.
Damn.
And yeah,
Parents
man,
were at it, dude.
yeah, just lots of people all over the place, man.
Sheesh.
So anyway, my older brother and I were really close because, we're only 2 years apart. So my youngers didn't really connect well because I was already in the army at that point. So like after they were, able to start speaking and shit like that, I wasn't there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we kind of became estranged and all that. But my older brother and I, we had some issues. Like I said, grew up on the west side of Cleveland. Didn't have much money at all. We were living with my grandparents, my dad, and it was terrible, man. It sucked, dude. Like we went to John Marshall High School. John Marshall, I don't know if you know anything about Cleveland, Ohio, but it was like a prison, dude. You walk in, you walk through metal detectors. Yeah, you got metal detectors and shit. There's cops everywhere because of all of the nonsense that happens over there. And I didn't after middle school, I didn't want to go to John Marshall because I was like, I don't want any of those problems. You know what I mean? It's just issues after issues. My older brother was going there. He was telling me some crazy stuff.
Right.
And, so he started skipping school. And then, from then on, like once I learned how to skip school, I was skipping school, man. I was skipping school every single day, not going to that place, dude. It was terrible. And that's how bad it was. I had to ride the circulator to school. It's like a local community RTA type situation. And, you go through some pretty rough hoods and stuff like that. And I just didn't want to deal with it. I didn't have the personality back then that I have now. Like after the army, obviously I'm a little bit more confident about myself and I can, pretty much do whatever I need to do, to make sure I'm all right in a situation. But, when you're younger, you just want to kind of avoid those situations. I guess that's how I looked at it. It's like, why am I going to go to this school where I could possibly be confronted for something that obviously I didn't even do or start or anything like that. It's just very confrontational. And, the times that I did try to go to the school, it was problems, so I was like, screw this, man. I'm not going. I'm not doing that.
Right.
So, after that kind of happened, my mom finally caught me after like 360 days of skipping. I swear to God, I skipped an entire year one year, and I was making fake notes.
Damn, dude.
Like I'm telling you, man, I was not playing.
Crazy.
And, and that's kind of how it was, like we would have parties at the house. My mom would be working and stuff. And I would bring half of John Marshall to my house and I'd be like, I'm fine with it because I'm at my house, But like the people that I was kind of close with, I would bring them back and we would just chill. But, looking back, like if I didn't do all of those things that I did when I was little, I don't think I would have turned out the way that I am now. You know what I mean?
Right. Independent.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Because I had an opportunity to kind of explore all aspects of like life, I guess, like I wasn't forced into anything. I didn't really have any guidance from anybody really. I just, was just like, all right, well, I'm going to try this out. And, if I get in trouble, I get in trouble, there's nothing, that's it basically.
Yeah.
So, I did get caught a bunch of times. Like one day sticks out perfect in my mind, man. I usually went to homeroom and then I would catch the bus back home. Like, and that was it. I was in homeroom and that was it, man. And the truancy officer, right? Exactly. I'm there. You know what I mean? So they would mark the little box and then boom, I'd disappear. But the one day I was on the way out and the truancy officer opened up the window and yelled out at me like, "See you later, buyers," and all this shit. She's like,
Oh, oh my God.
she like knows me by name and stuff, and that's how I knew. I was like, it was bad, man. But after that, I did some homeschooling and stuff like that, and then I ended up getting my GED after that because, like in 2007, I think is when I finally got my GED. But I just knew that like John Marshall, the school wasn't for me. Uh, and then,
Wait, hang on. There's
yeah,
something I'm learning from you right now.
sure, sure.
Listen, kids, school sucks. It doesn't matter. No,
Well,
I'm
no,
kidding. I'm
no,
kidding.
that's a
I'm
lie,
kidding.
man. That's a lie. So I'll get to that in a minute. But
No, I know. I
um,
know.
yeah, so after that, it was like, what the hell am I going to do with myself, man? Like,
Right.
like I said, I grew up in the west side of Cleveland. All my friends were into hardcore drugs, man. And I didn't want any part of that either. You know what I mean? I just wanted to kind of just do my own thing. And my brother and I at that point, we were going to ITT Technical Institute for I was going for computer electronics engineering and he was going for some other stuff. So we lived in Middleburg, which is right up the street from the ITT Tech. This is our first place that we got together. And, it was cool just being me and him because that's what it felt like my entire life is like my brother was my only constant that I had to kind of, like guide me, I guess, in the direction that I was going. You know what I mean? So it was like, no adult. My dad definitely wasn't telling me to do anything because my dad's nuts. You know what I mean? He's,
Right. Right.
he's just doing his own thing too. He's drinking and partying and going to jail a lot. So, you
He's
know,
having a grand old time.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, he's a cool guy. Like, don't get me wrong, but definitely not the person that I could have used to kind of guide me through life. You know what I mean?
Understood.
So, then that's when I really started thinking. Like after we were living there, and I was like, shit, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm just I don't know what I'm going to do, but I know I don't want to just be here to work. At the time, I was a produce manager at Mark's, a local store. And I was like, I do not want to do like groceries the rest of my life. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I talked to one of my buddies. His name is Josh. I won't use his last name, but he joined the Air Force a couple of years before that. And, I gave him a call and I asked him how he liked it. And, he was like, yeah, it's great. Just don't join. Don't do anything. Don't do
Oh
this.
yeah.
Yeah. Don't do it though. He's like, it's great, but don't do it. And I was like, hey. So then I started thinking about that. And then another guy I used to work with, I really looked up to him. His name was Mike. And, him and I worked together for quite a while. And then he moved away to South Carolina and became like this secret undercover FBI agent guy. And I was like, holy shit, if he can do it, I should be able to do something cool like that. So that's when I started looking into the Army and stuff like that. And, that's what really got me kind of motivated to see what else is out there and see what I can do instead of just staying in Ohio. You know what I mean? Ohio's Ohio.
Right.
So that's what it felt like to me because I was born and raised here. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, if I don't leave, I'll probably end up like one of those other guys that I used to be friends with that I'm not friends with anymore because they're not doing shit with their life. You know what I mean? They're
Man.
just kind of sitting there, doing the same thing every single day, waking up, wake and bake, doing this and selling
Right.
that, and that I just knew like that wasn't me. So then,
Let me ask you a question.
sure,
Let's pause
sure,
real quick.
sure.
So you're in this moment,
Mhm.
and you are around these people. I feel like there has to be you're either doing some of it or
Mhm.
you're like thinking about doing it and you're just seeing people and the way they're acting. What is it about? Why were you thinking this way? Why were you thinking this isn't for me?
So, like I was saying before, this kind of goes back to my dad. So my dad, his, he's got a reputation. Like everybody in the neighborhood knew who my dad was. He would be at the
Right.
parties with us. He would be the one getting us beer most of the time. Uh, he would just do the craziest, most off the wall things that I probably shouldn't say on this podcast.
That's okay.
So,
That's okay. You don't have to.
yeah,
I would
exactly.
love for
So,
you to, but you
Right,
don't have to.
you're
maybe
allowed to,
we'll
but you
talk
don't
about
have
that
to.
offline or something because
Yeah.
it'll steer the whole conversation in a wrong direction that I don't want to go down. So
That's
I
fair.
mean it was cool when we were young, like that it was awesome, it was exciting, like we constantly
Fucking
knew.
dad's
Right.
jumping off a fucking
Yeah.
building,
Right,
bro.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
So we constantly knew something would happen, and that's why kids
Yeah.
and other kids were like, "Hell yeah, let's go hang out with the buyers, man. They're crazy over there." So that's kind of what it was, and I saw what he was doing, and I knew I didn't want to do that at like a very young age. I knew,
That's fair.
you know what I'm saying? He was like constantly like, "Hey, let's drink," and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not even old enough, and I don't want to." You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Right.
And so, I was telling him no from like birth, I guess. I don't know, but he's just not. He's a good dude. He's a friend, but he's not the role model that I needed when I was a kid. You know what I'm saying? That's
Right
just
on.
that's the way it is. You know. And a
That's
good
what it goes
thing, I
becoming
had my grandpa
sometimes.
though. You know what I mean? His dad was my dad essentially because we were living with them. So he was the one that was, kind of showing me like, hey, don't do that. Do this instead. And my grandma was the same way. Like those two, without them, they were churchgoers. They forced my older brother and I, to go to church all the time, constantly. I hated that, but I mean, I still think even though I didn't like it, it still instilled like something in me to like, you know, keep track of who I am and don't don't fold to, somebody else like, here, do this. You know what I mean? Like, no, get that shit out of here. I don't want to do it. You know what I mean? So it gave me, what I
A
needed to,
backbone,
right, exactly.
a
Oh
moral
yeah,
compass.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
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 Fuck peer
So
pressure.
right, exactly. Yeah. Don't listen to that shit. It's not worth it. So, and that's kind of where I kind of lost track about what I'm talking about, but you know what I mean?
You're
That's
taking us through your just to get you back on track because it's actually very interesting to hear your back story of when you were a kid, where you
mm,
came from, the struggles you saw, the things you were a part of, because it is creating who you are today, right? It is
right.
creating the man that you are today, and also gave you because remember the goal of this is to, hey, you went through all these things. There was a moment that you didn't have purpose. And you felt like you were lost again, like you were once, as you were explaining to us now. I was a kid,
Mm.
you found purpose, probably what you're getting to is in the military at some point, right?
Yeah, that's
Found
right.
friendship and
Right.
things like that. And then after the
Yeah.
military, you lost it again, but you knew
Mhm.
you had to find it. And then you're going to take us into why you're so full of life right now. What is the purpose you're living? Did
Gotcha.
that?
Okay, so yeah, let me rewind just a little bit
Yep.
more. So, yeah, so after that whole thing with my dad, and we figured that out, people started getting in trouble with the police. People started going to jail. Like they were doing like a lightweight version of bum fights. Like we had these bums in the neighborhood, and I'm telling you, it
That
was
is
wild, man.
fucking
I mean, it was
hilarious.
good to be a part of and watch it from afar. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do anything out of my character that I regret like today. You know what I'm saying? I didn't hurt anybody. I didn't do anything. I just watched, you know what I mean? And if that's a sin, then hey, I did it. You know what I mean? So,
Yep. Yep.
but all right. So getting back to where I was going, just learning that and being able to see that from a young age, I knew, all right, I don't want to drink every single day and act a fool. I need to do something else. So then when my brother and I let's go back to Middleburg where we moved with my brother and I, after speaking with Mike and Josh about, what they're doing and how well they're doing and seeing different things, going to different states and stuff like that, I was like, all right, so let me just sign up for this thing and we'll see how it goes. So I actually had to sign up twice for the military. So the first time was, I think it was like 2009. I think is when I initially went to like MEPS and like all that stuff. I was getting ready to go. They promised me the world. Obviously, they were like, "Yeah, you can do this, this, and this, and this, and this," and that obviously didn't happen. Because I was 11 Bravo. So,
Hey, baby.
right, right. So, I sat down with the guy. I think his name was Sergeant Wright. Yeah, that's him. I sat down with him, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm ready to go. Just find me whatever you need." And I was like, "I'd like to do this, MOS or whatever." And he was like, "You know what I think would be really good for you."
Oh,
Well, he was an infantry guy, yeah. So I guess he pushed it on me, but he was like 11 Bravo. He was like, they get out there, you get in the field, you get to camp for a while, you do, just the whole spiel,
bunch of bullshit.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you get to do those things, but it's not fun by any means. You know
Well,
what I
he
mean?
was definitely nice to
Right.
you because mine was
Right.
like, you get to kick open doors and shoot motherfuckers in the
Yeah.
face.
Well, see, it's funny because he started off initially like that, like nice, but then, as time progressed and I didn't ship out like when he wanted me to, he became a douche. But I mean,
Man.
so the first time in 2009, I think it's around then. These dates are very loosely based because after the TBI, I can't really remember anything, so I'm just making up shit as I go. But so in 2000, around 2009, my grandma was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. So that's the reason I didn't go. See you later, Wade. That's the reason I didn't go to, I didn't ship the first time, is because she needed us there. You know what I'm saying? She was diagnosed. She was going through chemo. They moved like one of those cancer beds into the house, and she was just kind of chilling in the living room. And that's what it was, and that went on for, I don't know, a couple months until she finally passed away. And they didn't understand that or anything, and they brought me into this room. I felt like it was an interrogation, man. So after I told them I wasn't going to ship out the first time, I signed the papers and everything, and then I called Josh because I was freaking out, because they were like, "You signed the papers, you gotta go," and I was like, "All right, well, just relax." So I called my buddy Josh, and he was like, "Yeah, if you don't get on the plane, if you haven't gotten on the plane yet, then you're good." So I told them that, and they didn't like that, man. So they brought me into this back room in this little office in this little podunk, I don't know, recruiting station, and they put the spotlight on me, and there's like 6 of them around me. And they're just asking me all these crazy ass questions.
Right.
And, at that point I didn't know anything. I just was like, yeah, my grandma's dying. I'm not leaving yet. You know what I mean? Like, screw
Right.
you. So, then they kind of let it go. And then, I forget exactly what happened, but my dad like had a nervous breakdown after that, like after his mom died,
That's really tough.
Yeah. So he was drinking constantly. And then like my grandpa was going through a hard time too. And then this is kind of where everything went south a little bit. So my grandpa decided to move back to Pennsylvania. That's where he was born and raised, is in Pennsylvania, right? That's where his family's at. That's where all this stuff is at. So he moved, and he was going to sell the house to my dad. And my dad still hadn't recovered from like losing his mom,
Yes.
And so my dad, he just goes even more crazy than the stories that I could tell you. He went even more crazy than that. And I think he lost himself for a while. He was just in his room smoking mad cigarettes, playing like WWE, like slamming the shit out of people. I don't know, but I didn't see him for months, and he would just be down in his room, not coming out, super skinny, doing all that weird shit, trying to cope with whatever.
God, that is hard.
Right? Yeah, like whatever he was dealing with, he was trying to cope with it. Obviously.
Fuck.
Yeah. So, he was supposed to buy the house from my grandpa. That didn't happen. So then he ended up moving to Pennsylvania as well, and I followed suit because I was like, what I don't have anybody here left. You know what I mean? Like, my older brother's doing his own thing. He's got an apartment. His girlfriend's living with him now. So I can't go back there because I'm not going to be a third wheel living in an apartment, with them.
Hold up.
Yeah.
That right there is an interesting perspective you just threw on the table. You would feel like a third wheel in your own home.
Right. Yeah. I mean, but that's the type of person I am. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to intrude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to intrude on anybody.
I get it, but that's your dad, bro. Like, that's
I
like,
mean, it is
right,
what it is.
there
man.
it is. That was the response right there.
What it is.
We can talk about that on a retreat. If you want to get a little bit deeper on that shit, you come out on a retreat with us.
All right. Yeah. No big deal, man.
Look at him. He's like, yeah, right. I'm not going.
I'm not going with you guys.
I'm getting your ass on a retreat, bro.
It's funny because I tried to go on a retreat when I was in Colorado, man.
Wait, look at the QR code that Rocco just put up for you.
I got you, buddy.
Hold on. Let me get my phone, man.
Damn right, bro. Do it. Scan that bitch.
Oh, my God. So anyway, I moved to Pennsylvania, and, this is where I
at PA?
Washington, Pennsylvania. Yeah. So I moved in with my grandpa, actually. So my grandpa moved, and then we stayed in the house in Cleveland for a while. And then my grandpa was like, well, your dad's not buying it, so I got to get rid of it. So he ended up selling it. And I was like, oh shit, I don't have any place to go. So let me just move to PA, start doing my own thing down there, trying to figure shit out. So I moved down there for a while. I think it was about a year, and I couldn't find anything like productive to do. I was just living with my grandpa. I was getting kind of ticked off because he's like an old school kind of guy, churchgoer, just no nonsense kind of guy. Cool. And he would, at that time I was into video games and stuff. I was like, I was playing like, I forget what I was playing, but he would look over my shoulder and he'd be like, why are you chasing that guy around on the screen? Like a third person game, He's like, why you been chasing that guy for like 6 hours? He doesn't understand about it, but after he said that to me, and I was like, damn, I got to do something, man, because I don't want him to keep on looking at me like, damn, he's just wasting his life away,
Uh-huh.
So then I contacted
you respected him.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So after that, I contacted, the recruiter again, Sergeant Wright. And I was like, look, man, I was like, I don't have any way to come back to Ohio. I don't have a car. I don't have anything. I was like, but if you drive up here and get me, I'll get on the plane. You know what I mean? I'll get on the plane this time. So that's what he did. He drove up there. He picked me up. I
God
mean,
damn.
obviously there's some more stuff in between this, but he drove up there, picked me up. We went to MEPS. He got me a hotel for a little while, for like a week, I think, until I shipped out. I signed all the paperwork, did the duck walk and all that crazy stuff. And then, next thing I knew, I was on a plane to
I love
Georgia.
how I know what that is.
What?
I love how I know what that is.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I got on a plane to Georgia, and then that's where I kind of, flourished there. Honestly, like I went there, I was a little heftier because, I was just sitting around all the time. I was a little fat kid, and that changed real quick when I got there, man. I was
Yeah,
looking,
dude.
yeah, exactly, real quick, because I was like, damn, this sucks, man. I'm fat, I'm out of breath, I can't run, you know. So on all of our off time and stuff like that, when I was in the barracks, I would just be doing whatever I could do to improve my strength, my endurance, everything like that. They were waking us up at the butt crack of dawn, having us come outside in the cold with, them short ass shorts on that you got to wear, And at first it was like a shock to the system, man, because you're not even used to doing that shit. And they start right away, man. They don't give you no time to acclimate. I didn't even get off the bus and they're like, put them bags over your head and they better
Shark
stay
attack.
up there. You know what I'm saying? That's it, man. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, all right, I guess it's time to go,
What
And
year did you go in?
I was in 2010. So yeah, like 2010.
In the summer?
Yeah, in the summer. Yeah.
I was there in 2010 in the
Were
summer.
you? Nice,
Yeah.
man.
I had
Yeah.
senior drill sergeant Sherwood.
I had Brownlee, Fisher, or was this Fisher? Yeah, Brownlee, Fisher, and then like some tall guy that I never seen ever. He would like come in and everyone would be super scared of him, and then he never said anything to
You hear
us.
the
So I don't know.
story about Kaluzny?
No.
No? Oh, man.
No. All I know is that people were hiding shit in the ceilings and other bays, and we got in trouble for it. That's all I know, man.
Oh, it was probably us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all I know. They were like, yeah, you gotta have, and then they made us take all the ceiling panels down and checked our lockers like every day and all this shit. I'm like, geez,
Oh, is that Jake?
yeah, that's
Jacob
before,
Allen,
What's up,
yeah.
Jake?
that's before we were even able to, before we even able to walk around. That was like our first couple weeks there. I'm like, dude, we haven't been able to leave this thing out of sight, and like, since we've been here. I don't know what you're saying here, but yeah, the basic training was a whole experience for me, man. It was weird because we had two twins there and they wanted to do a news story on these kids. And then we also had in the same, whatever training as us, they had a father and a son that they wanted to do like a news story on too. So I'm like, what the hell are all these cameras doing here, man? And then this guy's like 50 years old and this kid's 18. He's joining the infantry with them. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, you guys are crazy, So besides that though, it was pretty much normal. We would sleep outside, do all the infantry shit, all the sucky stuff, like a 26-mile ruck march and, all that
Sucky
bull.
stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was sucky until it wasn't, you know what I mean? Like once you got used to it and, as long as you had like the drive and motivation to get through it, which a lot of people in our, when I was in basic training didn't have,
Yeah.
There's a lot of kids there, which I'm surprised because some of them I was like, yeah, that kid's going to be good, and then the last day comes and they're like, oh shit, I give up on the ruck march that we had to do. And I was like, dude, this is it. I was like, we got to carry some bombs like 16 miles this way and then ruck up a hill and then we're done. You know what I mean? You just wasted 16 weeks of your life and now you have to redo it again, like,
Right.
I was like, I'll carry your ruck for you. Just walk this thing,
Walk, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's like, no, I hurt my hip. And I'm not going to say his name or anything, but he really disappointed me, man, that guy. And if he's watching, I hope he hears this because he disappointed me big.
You disappointment.
Yep, he is. Yep. He's probably still there, honestly.
A lot of people faked injuries to get up to that hospital, though, because the hospital had good food.
Oh, yeah.
Had good food, I heard.
They did. When you're going from eating what they allow you to eat in 4
Dude,
minutes.
I remember drinking blue Powerade all the time,
Oh,
and like you couldn't look up. I mean, I remember very little. It's weird. It's like they put you in some sort of trance when they take you there, But yeah, I don't remember very much from there. And this could be the TBI as well. I'm not sure, but it was just crazy. I don't know.
All right, you've mentioned TBI about like fucking 8 times now.
Hey, well, I gotta let people know, man.
When did you deploy and did that have an effect on your life?
Oh yeah, big time, man. So I deployed on my birthday, actually, April 22nd, 2010. So, or I'm sorry, yeah, no, 2011, 2011. So yeah, on my fucking birthday, it was great. Um, I think I had just got married at the church on post. In my
Are you
first,
still married?
no, oh, well, not to her, no, no, not to
Oh.
her. I don't. Yeah, I'm not getting into that either because my
Wait, I love how
Join the club. Join the club,
yeah,
buddy.
you're right.
I love how Wade just came back in for that and then just left.
Oh, shit.
Like it was
He knows how it is, man. Alaska's a dark and lonely place, man. Dark and lonely. So, hold on, get me back on track. What was I talking about?
So you deployed in April
That's right. Okay.
22nd,
Yep.
2011.
My birthday, April 22nd, I deployed. Dude, I had no idea what to expect, man. It was probably, the scariest thing, but the coolest thing at the same time, man. Dude, they put us on the plane, and the plane from the inside looked like they had just someone rebuilt it that didn't know how to rebuild a plane. There's fucking cables and shit hanging from everywhere, and I'm just like, dude, are we gonna fucking make it?
Yeah, this is scary shit right now.
Yeah,
What
like
the fuck?
I'm looking around and just like, what the hell,
Yeah.
So, dude, we get over Afghanistan. Instantly, you can smell like the air is not good quality there, right? Just
Right.
I could probably still smell that shit today. But dude, we come in and some weird shit happens with the engine. I'm not sure if they shut it off on purpose or whatever they did, dude. They turned the thing off and we're coming coasting in. And they're like, yeah, we're shutting the engines down. And we're just coasting in, and you hear rockets and shit flying by and all this. And we finally get on the ground. I'm like, thank God, dude. We instantly get off. We have to run because I think they're getting bombarded at the time. They're shooting like mortars or something. So we instantly have to get off and run to this like shelter area that they had for you when you got there. And after we replaced the unit that was already there, we started off in, what is it, the Dan district. It wasn't much at all. It was super easy. I wasn't really worried until we had to move up into.
Question.
Sure.
You and Wade deployed together in 2011?
Together but separate, right? Yeah. So he
shit.
was.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I didn't recognize that. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not exactly sure where they put him, but he was in a different unit, I think, right? Yeah. I'm not exactly.
Recon.
Yeah, he was in a recon. Yeah. So I was in Alpha Company. He was in
Oh,
recon.
okay.
Yeah, the big guy.
Yeah.
They asked me to be in recon, and I said no.
Yeah, they tried to recruit me. I said no. No,
I wanted you, bro. So
I know
bad,
you did.
dude.
I know. I wanted to come over, but Griffin wouldn't let me go, man. Sergeant Griff, he wouldn't let me go.
Yeah, because he got
So,
kicked
anyway,
out.
yeah.
But I love that dude. But I love him, man.
Yeah. So, So besides that, though, our first mission, let me just back up just a little bit. So my driver was probably the most insignificant person I could have had as a driver, man. I honestly hate talking shit about people.
Sure.
But man,
Sometimes they deserve it.
I'm like all right. So, they're all about the buddy system. You got to make sure your buddy makes it and all this shit. You got to be strong enough to carry your buddy. Well, I was strong enough to carry his ass. He wasn't carrying me nowhere. You know what I'm saying? I was like 235 pounds of, man meat, and he's looking like a strip of bacon. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what is he going to do? So there's plenty of times where, in Alaska, there's this big ass hill. I think it was Birch Hill. Is that the hill? Wait.
Yeah.
Okay. Birch Hill. We had to ruck up and down that thing. We had ice things on our boots so you wouldn't fall down. And this kid couldn't ruck a half a mile uphill. So I'd have to put his ruck on, and then I'd have to carry his ass too. And I was just tired of it, man, And then we had another guy, his name, I'm not going to do it to him. But he was just a weird guy, man. He would wear like one winter boot and one summer boot. And then, his belt was on upside down and backwards and shit. I'm like, dude, how do you even do this, man? And then they saw that out. Right. Exactly. Dude, I'm telling, I don't even know how this guy made it through, man. Honestly, I caught him doing some weird shit in the shower. I took a video. I shared it all around. I shouldn't have done that, but and that's
it went to U.S. Army. What the fuck moments?
No, but I've got a couple of those videos actually, and they're freaking hilarious. That I still look at them every now and again. But yeah, he was doing some weird shit, man. It was like he was a skinwalker or something. I don't know what the hell is going on in there. Swear to God, dude, I don't know. But anyway, back to my story.
So I think the thing behind that, right, is they push they push, get the guy in front of you and behind you so
Right.
hard,
Right.
and when you have somebody that you don't think is gonna get you,
Yeah.
you know, I don't fucking like you either. Like
Right.
if you're not gonna get my back, I don't give a shit about you.
Right. And see, another thing was I was only a private when I came. So I was like, I think I was an E1, dude. And they saw that I was better than and I hate saying this, man, because I don't consider myself
We
to be better
understand.
than
We know what
anybody.
you're saying. Go
But
ahead.
they saw me and they were like, you are in charge of the new guys. And I was like, fucking great, dude. I was just trying to come in under the radar. And the first week there, dude, they put me in charge of people. And I'm like, fuck, man, I'm screwed now because half of these guys, you can look at them and tell there ain't, something's not right,
Yeah,
but
when you describe a guy as a skinwalker, I think yes, you're on point that these guys aren't right. Yeah,
dude,
yeah, yeah.
no, honestly, if you had to deal with it, man, you would be saying the same shit. But I try to get past that because I don't want to be that person to kind of say that about them. But I don't know any other way to describe those kind of people. I just I just don't,
wait.
dude.
I want to share with everybody what the fuck you're describing for the showers, real quick. I think it's really important for context
Okay, dude. All
that
right.
we do this.
All right. All right.
So this is a skinwalker in the fucking bathroom.
Oh my god.
Like this is what he's like. The guy's walking around hunched over.
I didn't mean visually looks like a skinwalker. The way he was acting. All right.
Yeah, I'm sure the way he's acting.
I'm gonna give you some more context real quick. Hold on. Let me just say this real quick. So I'm going to the shower. We just got done with like PT and stuff, and I was doing it like 2 or 3 times a day at that point anyway. So because everybody else had to, because they weren't passing the PT test and all that stuff. So they're making us do it a bunch. So I was on my way to the shower and the stall was locked up. And I'm like, what the hell's going on in there, dude? And I took my shower. I left them alone. It was like 20 minutes. I was in there rubbing up, squashing, rinsing everything off. Dude, I come out and he's still in there. I'm like, dude, what the hell's going on in there? So
we're going to show you what was going on there in just a second.
I should have sent you the video because then you could have pulled it up. But well, I don't want to show the guy's face anyway. So he's literally standing in there. He doesn't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he was doing everything but making that noise, man, to be a skinwalker.
Oh.
So he's inside the stall. He's not doing anything. He's fully clothed, and he's just standing in there, and he's like turning his head like that.
Oh, yeah.
And his eyes are like going different places and shit. Dude, it was the weirdest. I have the video. It's the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Definitely possessed.
Fuck.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And he was just standing in there. Wasn't using the bathroom. He was facing like out, standing up. So
this is Alaska?
Man. Yeah, in Alaska, man.
Yeah, he was possessed by a skinwalker.
They replaced him.
Alaska.
Right, dude. On his way there, they kidnapped the real
second home.
Exactly. And they replaced him with this skinwalker guy. Yeah.
Do I know this guy?
You might, dude. I swear you might, because he was messing up the entire time we were there, man.
Wait, do you know Pat Carney as well?
No, I don't.
You don't?
No.
Okay. Pat Carney was me and him met in Iraq. He was like doing jiu-jitsu.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this guy didn't know jiu-jitsu. The only thing he knew how to do is like freak me out, dude. So
he knew how to be like a chameleon with his fucking eyeballs.
Yes. No, dude, I'm not kidding. Like his eyes, if I'm looking at you here, his eyes would be like up over here being like on some creepy stuff, dude. I'm telling you. It's
you know what I mean? That's good.
So anyway, back to my story. We were in Afghanistan. Our very first mission, the reason I got off topic was to tell you about my driver, who was also a shitbag. But the first mission, he is my driver. I'm the vehicle commander. So, I'm pretty sure everybody here that's listening is going to know what that means.
You want to describe it just in case?
Yeah, sure. So I was in charge of the remote weapon system on top of the vehicle. So whether it be a 50 cal or a Mark 19, I had the joystick in hand. I was using, I was scanning for everything, to try to see if I could see something before anybody else could see it. Obviously, while we're traveling, make sure we're okay. Cool. And
man, I love me a Mark 19, man.
Yeah. I was stuck with a 50, so yeah.
I love
sucked. But anyway, we're driving down the road, and the roads in Afghanistan aren't fully like paved or anything like that. And I mean, but they're big enough to drive a striker on. So we had a striker, and he goes off the road, man, and just gets us stuck. Like stuck. We can't even move. And I'm like, this is a striker, and we're stuck in the middle of Afghanistan out in the open. And we were just on the way to the Dan district from whatever Air Force base we were at, where those guys get to eat pizza and all that cool shit every day. Yeah. So we were just stuck there until the wrecker came and like pulled us out. So we were sitting there for 6 hours, dude. And this is our first this is our first day. This is our first day there. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. So I'm like, I'm on it, man, because we just got there. So I'm like, dude, there's going to be people shooting at me all over the fucking place. I got to spin this, around and make sure we're good.
Fuck.
And because I didn't know what to expect because I haven't been there before. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is my first deployment, fresh. Dude, I just got to Alaska 3 or 4 months later. Boom, I'm in Afghanistan. I'm like, holy crap, dude.
And you hear stories, so the expectation is probably very high.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and what makes it worse is I was in the platoon sergeant's vehicle. So he's sitting right next to me. I have no idea who this guy is. I just know he's 100 ranks higher than I am. And he's like, you better keep your eyes on, so I'm like trying to do my best to do what I can do for him. And we're just stuck here. And he's pissed. He's yelling at the driver, like, oh, this fucking sucks, And it turned into this whole thing. And it was just terrible, man. It was just terrible. So after that, we finally got to the Dan district and we were just chilling. And, after that, it became a lot easier. We were doing like, roving patrols, and we didn't have as much, we weren't using vehicles as much. We were just on the ground. Every now and again, there'd be someone in like a Toyota pickup truck driving by shooting a gun at us or something. Right. But it wasn't like anything crazy that we couldn't really handle. And then we did that.
Yeah. I just, it's interesting. There's some civilians that do listen to this. I'm a civilian too, if you didn't know.
Okay,
I'm the only guy in a group that, I'm the only guy in a group that is. So, I'm just one of the co-founders that came out of Colombia, lost my mind and wanted to do something for the country. So,
gotcha.
the thing that's interesting about that perspective you just threw out there, that is one that many people don't understand. You're like, we're just getting pop shotted. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's okay. It's nothing we can't handle. I had a bullet hit my fucking windshield. It's fine. Like, I was protected. And it's just like, that's such an,
Well, it's a different mindset,
That's right.
when you're there. So a lot of people, well, for me, this is personal to me. I don't know if anybody else experienced this too, but while I was there, I wasn't worried about whether or not I was going to die.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I was worried about
That's a good headspace to be in when you're there.
Right. Exactly. I mean, obviously I thought about it, but I wasn't like stuck on it. Like, oh shit, we got to go outside the wire again. We might die.
We're excited to.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So, I was excited to see what else was out there. I was still young and, I had a lot of energy and shit. So right after we got there, they were like, Byers, you're a 240 gunner now. You get to carry this 26 point whatever pound gun. You don't have a ammo carrier either. So you have to carry your ammo. And then on top of that, you have to carry all your water and your food and, anything else that we might want you to carry while you're on the way.
And your Skinwalker battle buddy.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So luckily
he's going to freak out every Muslim around, dude. Right. Yeah.
Well, luckily he was in 3rd platoon. So I was in 2nd. So I didn't get to see him much after that. After we got to Afghanistan, I didn't really see him, which was like, thank God, because, getting smoked in Afghanistan is probably not fun. You know what I mean? So
did you hear what he said? Dude? Rocco was like, but he saw you.
I'm sure he did, dude. He's probably standing over my cot while I was sleeping.
Holy shit.
But
he did a seance in a shower for you, bro.
Hopefully it wasn't for me, man. Maybe that's why I had such bad luck recently. But
I'm gonna
it's just
the rest of this interview looking at him like this.
Yeah, right. He's probably at home right now. He probably has a lock of my hair out and he's trying to get me right now, dude. Something. I don't know. But I'm going to stop talking about him because it's not about
him.
He's going to find you.
You already said where he was earlier, dude. Shit.
I don't know.
Who's that?
But anyway. If he wants to come, he can come. I'll make him something to eat.
Oh, yeah. There's like a shadowy figure that just shoots behind his fucking behind him.
So, yeah, I mean, once we got there, I wasn't really thinking about, dying or anything like that. I was thinking about like how I could keep everybody else safe as well as keep myself safe. And in my role, currently like what I was doing. So I was the vehicle commander. Then they didn't like me there because I was too big. I was like the biggest guy in our platoon. So they were like, all right, well, you got to carry it because nobody else can carry the thing. You know, you
Sure.
got to do it. So I was like, all right, cool. I mean, it's a big ass gun. Of course I want a big ass gun, you know? So we went on a couple missions, and the biggest one that we went on, we were actually dropped off by Chinook, and it was like a secret mission. But I mean, if you can't see a Chinook coming down and dropping off like 30 guys, like, come on, it's not anything crazy, you know? So we actually set up and we took these people's house, and what really kind of made me upset about you know, the ROE, like rules of engagement and stuff like that, was and like the rules that we had to follow while we were there, it wasn't really based on our protection. It was based on like their beliefs while we were over there. So this woman, we took over this house and we were using it as like a base, an operating zone, you know, and every time the woman would walk by, we would have to turn our backs to her. And I'm like, I'm not turning my fucking back to this lady. Are you kidding me? I'm gonna get shanked or something, you know? I mean, I understand that, you know, she's in their culture, that's the way it works, right? But you know, we were forced to do that. Like my first sergeant was like, you better do this or else, you know, you're going to get this and all that. So it was really like, I didn't really appreciate our first sergeant at all. I did not. I mean, when I was on the stretcher after they were carrying me out, after I got blown up, he looked silly as hell carrying my ass. But besides that, he was a fobbit, man. Honestly, he didn't leave. He was just riding on the skid steer every single day, like building things. And I was like, dude, if you want to be an engineer, you should have been an engineer. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing?
I'm sorry. Did you just say a hobbit?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You are a hobbit that stays at the fob, which is
No.
forward
It
observation
doesn't
base.
have anything to do with your appearance. It just means that you never.
No, I
leave
know
the-
you're not
yeah,
leaving
okay,
the
yeah.
forward observation base.
Right. Exactly.
Totally.
Yeah.
I understood, and that
Okay,
is
gotcha,
hilarious.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I didn't know with your lack of military experience if you knew that or not.
Yeah. That is the funniest shit.
Real shit. He knows more about the military than I do.
Oh, I'm sure he probably does to me too. Because as soon as I got out of there, I left that shit in the rear view, man. So
yeah,
good.
You know, I mean, but besides that, you know, I guess what I can get to next is like, I was there, everybody started going on leave. So I was like, hell yeah, my time to go home is coming. Right. We've been there for 5 months. And then I found out that I wasn't going to be able to go on leave until I think month 9 or something like that we were there. And at this point, it was November, and a lot of stuff had transpired before that. Like our company commander got relieved of his duties and sent back. And then we had to go and pick up another one. And I became the vehicle commander again for that convoy. And on the way back, he liked me so much that he was like, what are you doing now? You're not doing that anymore. You're working for me. You're my vehicle commander now. You do nothing else, but you're my vehicle commander now. And I was like, all right, cool. You know, I thought I'd be safer in the vehicle because, yeah, go ahead.
So you were A company, Alpha?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, your CO was
Yeah, you know who it is, man. So yeah, we could talk about that offline, but yeah, no, he did a lot of shit that was messed up. Like our first platoon got really injured. A couple of guys like lost their legs and like all this crazy stuff. And second platoon was the QRF, quick reaction force for them. So we were out there. We were carrying these. They tried to give us these grenade backpacks. I forget what they're called. What are they called?
Bandoliers.
No, it was the check for the IEDs. Remember they were trying to do that. I forget what they are, but it's basically like a 50-foot long tube sock full of grenades, and they're all connected together. And you launch it out if you think there's an IED, and then it blows up in the areas and tries to blow up the IED so you guys don't get taken out. So I had to carry that thing too. And I remember that moment, man. It was probably the coolest moment. It looked exactly, in my mind, it looked exactly like a U.S. military commercial. Like I'm taking a knee. I've got the 240 Bravo just chilling right here. I'm taking a knee, pulling security while this big ass helicopter is coming in to evacuate these guys that just got injured, you know? Yeah. And like the wind's blowing, the sand's blowing. I even got the chills while I was there. I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. You know, I mean, it sucks that the guys got injured, obviously, but in that moment, I was like proud of myself for being that, because this is what I saw on a commercial one time. And I was like, I'll probably never do that. But then I was actually there and I did that shit. And I was like, dude, this is awesome, you know? Yeah. And that in that moment, that's kind of how I felt about it, you know?
That's good to
Um,
feel that.
Right,
You're
exactly. Yeah,
grateful
I
to be
felt
there, man.
yeah,
That's cool.
exactly. I felt like I was serving a purpose. I felt like I was doing something. Now, even though while we were there and after we left, everything was destroyed that we did that year, that's irrelevant, I guess, But so anyway, my time is coming up. I'm getting ready to leave, and it just everything goes south, right? So the new company commander's like, hey, I need you, first sergeant or sergeant first class McCain to go, and I'm going to say his name because he passed and I have a lot of respect for him.
Cool.
So I was in his vehicle. I was actually his vehicle commander that day. And, we were taking guys on leave. We were getting ready to drop them off. There's a bunch of guys in the back, about 6 of them we were dropping off. And it was just another day. We were the third vehicle in the convoy. We had a mine roller in the front, another vehicle, and then our vehicle. And, it was a command det IED that blew us up. It just, the only way that I can describe it is if someone puts you in a bottle that is much bigger than you and then just shakes you as fast as they can. It was so disorienting. I'm spitting out teeth. Like right after it happened, I was like, holy shit, man. Like, what was that? I woke up and I performed like a self check. My arm was like super swollen. I've got, I had to have shrapnel taken out of my arm and stuff. And, I was like, damn, instantly both my ankles were swollen. Like my left one, they had to do an ankle replacement because of how bad it was. I broke 5 ribs. I broke my neck. I shrapnel in the whole right side of my body and all this shit. And I'm just sitting there for a minute. I'm like, holy shit. I look over and all I see blood on his back, Sergeant McCain. And, I'm just like, holy shit, what happened? So my hatch is still open. It's above me. And I'm like, well, I'm doing no good in here. So I grab my rifle and I unbuckle myself and I start pulling myself out. And at this point, I think the striker was like kind of on its side because I pulled myself out of the upper hatch, but I was on the ground level when I pulled myself out. So I couldn't walk or anything. I was just, basically crawling out. And at that point, we were already surrounded by our people and, they were pulling security, making sure we were going to be all right. And there wasn't any secondary attacks coming or anything like that. But yeah, I remember our medic running over to me. He's like, hey, what's wrong? I was like, I broke some ribs. My ankles are messed up. I can't get up. I can't walk. I can barely breathe. And dude, it sucked because they had to bring 5 birds in for medevac. And dude, I was on the last one. So I was literally laying in the sand of Afghanistan for like fucking ever, dude. I was on the ground just like wheezing and shit, trying to breathe because my ribs were broken. And dude, it sucked, man.
That does suck.
And even though all of that was happening, I wasn't ever thinking about like, oh shit, I'm going to die here. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So that's kind of how that went. But I did laugh and it hurt like hell 2 times after I got blown up. The first time was I finally saw our FOBIT first sergeant come off of the FOB
Every
to
time.
carry me on a stretcher to get medvaced out, and him running is the most hilarious thing. And I started laughing and my ribs were like killing
Stop
me.
running!
Right? I'm like, oh my God,
You're
dude.
hurting me.
Yeah, right. I was just laughing so hard and it hurt so bad. And
Oh,
the
you're
second
cool,
time,
man.
the second time was when I was on the bird and they had, I mean,
It's a wonderful attitude.
Air Force is a different, like a different animal, I guess, because, there's many different people all over the place. But this guy that was on the chopper, I'm surprised that shit could take off. Honestly, I'm not mean. I'm a realist, man. And this guy was too big to be on there. He took up more room than 4 guys did. Right. And he couldn't give us the care that we needed. And he sat on my ankle that had just got blown up by a bomb.
Oh yeah.
Because he couldn't hold himself up to take care of the person next to me. So he sat on me and I passed. I swear to God, I passed out. And when I woke up, we were landing in Germany. He sat on me and I fucking passed out. And if I ever meet that guy, I'll have to punch him. Swear. I swear. Because it was the worst experience of my life, man. He literally sat on me after I got blown up.
Oh,
and
that's insane.
It was the worst experience I've ever had, man. And that was probably worse than getting blown up, honestly. I mean, I'm probably exaggerating a little bit, but it was super painful because my ankle was already broken, super swollen, sat on it, just all this cracking happened. And then I woke up when we were in Germany after I was
That's
getting
probably
taken
why
off
you
the bird,
needed
man.
the ankle replacement.
Holy
I'm telling you,
shit.
like, that shit was crazy, man. I was like, how can you be, like my savior and you can't even move yourself around in this chopper or in the bird. You know what I mean? Like, come on,
God, that dude was no PJ, right?
man. He was no weight,
Oh.
I'll tell you that, man. Shit. If I would have weight in there, at least I have something to look at, man. God damn.
Hey.
But so anyway, they take me off the bird, and I remember they put me on this table, took off all my clothes, bunch of women everywhere. I'm like, yeah, what's up, you know? And they're like, you got shrapnel in your hip and stuff. We're gonna take it out before we send you on your way. And he was like, all right, we'll see you later. And then boom, I went to sleep. And then when I woke up again, I was in the hospital bed someplace. And Sergeant Griffin was on his way back. He's like my favorite guy, man. Him and Wade. Yeah, exactly. Him and Wade are my favorite guys, man. And me and him were really tight. But he ended up going on leave. As he was on his way back in Germany, he found out that I got injured. He came into my room and stuff, saw me and stuff like that before. And
That's
then,
cool as shit.
yeah. And
That's
then,
a good leader.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He was a great leader.
Yeah. He's actually doing real good things right now too. He's still in. So, yeah, I think he's up there now, man. Yeah, he's cruising. So yeah, and then after that, they awarded me with my Purple Heart. You know, and then, you know, that's pretty much the extent, except for when they couldn't ship me directly back to Alaska because they didn't have a surgeon there to perform whatever needed to be done to repair my ankles. So they had to send me to Madigan Air Force, or Madigan. I don't know if it's an Air Force base or not, but they sent me to Madigan Hospital in Seattle. And I was there for like 28 days, man. And
were you mad again?
Was I what? I'm mad again? Yeah. I was mad at the hospital. Let me tell you that shit, man.
Yeah.
So they
I apologize, audience.
Trying to be funny, man. But yeah, when I was at the hospital. Hold on, let me know when you guys are done, all right?
Yeah, my bad, bro. We always get into that one spot where like I make a terrible joke.
Fucking asshole.
You're all right, man. You're all right.
I gotta intercede real quick. I gotta go do my job, but I love you guys, Joe. I love you, man. And,
all right, man. Sounds good. All right, brother. I'll talk to you later.
Bye, Wade. Love you.
So yeah, it's all good, man. I'm just joking with you. But
I know.
when we got there, you know, I was still with my ex-wife, and she's the reason that I got all the care that I got while I was there, because obviously I couldn't do anything for myself. And you know, as much as like now, you know, I don't feel for her as much because, you know, obviously she really made me upset at some points, and I don't want to get into any of that because
you don't have to.
You're right. Exactly. Yeah. But while we were there though, she did her job as my wife and she took care of me. And without her, I wouldn't have half of the things that I have now because of the groundwork that she did while I was there.
It's really cool.
So, you know, she had to fight basically on a daily tooth and nail to get these people to do anything, you know, and a military hospital is completely different from a regular hospital. These assholes at the military hospital, it's just a job to them. Honestly, it's like the VA, dude. It's like going to the VA. These people, even though they're service members too, they don't act like it, man. And it's probably because they never had to go through the shit that we had to go through. And they think that, you know, everything's all peachy keen and all this stuff. And they haven't seen anything. Which might not be the case, but I mean, it may just be who they are. They just don't give a shit. But the guy that did the surgery on my ankle, besides him, everybody else was shit. You know, he told me, yeah, exactly. Well, he told me, he was like, after I do this surgery on your ankle, you might not be able to run again. You might not be able to move it. We might have to fuse it. You might not be able to, you know, shit, man, you know, you're lucky it's there, you know. Because when I got blown up, it was say, for example, this is like the striker, my foot was at a diagonal. So when I got blown up, it pushed up and it just obliterated everything in the ankle. And it was just like pieces of bone left in there. So it was just dangling and shit, you know? So he's like, I can't completely rebuild it. So we're going to have to use these plates and kind of do this thing. And, you know, it ended up working. So, I mean, I can run and stuff and I can walk and all that stuff. And that's probably because I forced myself to do that, but we'll get to that later. I don't know how much time we have. I think it's
keep going, brother.
Oh, okay. All right. But you know, while I was there, it was a terrible experience. They were trying to kick me out on Thanksgiving, because they knew at a certain point, I would get awarded some money for being in the hospital that long. and they tried to kick me out the day before. And then my wife went to the commander of the hospital. She talked to every damn buddy, dude. We had an ombudsman at that point, man. She was doing it, dude, you know?
Wow.
And without that, I would have been kicked out in a barracks, someplace, you know, not in the hospital where I needed to be, you know, and, you know, I'm thankful for that. But, you know, after that, you know, they shipped me back up to Alaska. I was I wasn't sent to a warrior transition unit right away, the WTU. I wasn't sent there right away. They sent me back to my unit. And then my unit's like, what the hell are you doing here? Like, you know, I'm in Alaska. There's 7 feet of snow. I'm in a wheelchair. I have 4 casts on, well, 5 casts on. Basically, I've got a neck cast. I got 2 arm casts and legs casts. And they're like, why did they send you back to us? They're like, they should have put you in the WTU. So it took like 2 months for them to transfer me from my regular unit, which when you're in the regular unit, you have to do all the shit that the regular unit does, but I couldn't, you know what I'm saying? So I'm showing up to PT and I'm just sitting there because I was in the unit, you know, they wouldn't let me just stay at home and try to recover after this. So after all that, I mean, there was a lot more involved with that, obviously, and it was terrible. But finally, I got to the WTU, and it was a lot better after I got there, man. I won a couple awards and stuff. I won Soldier to Emulate. I won, you know, I mean, just basically trying to be a role model for the guys that were there. There was one instance, and I have to bring this up because I was like, if anybody ever wants to hear a story, I got to tell them this one, man. And it sucks that it's this way, but this is what it is, right? So we were deployed. There was this first sergeant. I don't know exactly what unit he was with. I don't know what happened to him, but he was in the WTU. He was deployed when I deployed, and he looked perfectly fine. So I'm not exactly sure what he was doing there. You know, maybe he had some mental stuff going on. I don't know. But, you know, he started to, when I was in the gym, you know, I would do what I could, obviously, like I have casts on, I can't do much. And he made a comment to me while I was in the gym, and he was like, all you do is you work upper body. You never do any lower body. And I was like, well, that's none of your business. First of all, like, what the, you know, what is this? You know, I don't know you, you know what I mean? Like, why are you even talking to me? You know? And so I brought it up to the commander of the WTU, and he actually brought him in and sat him down and stuff. And, you know, we resolved that like that. But it's just funny to me because visually nothing was wrong with him. And clearly you could see like something happened to me. You know what I'm saying? And he still had the, you know, had the motivation.
Audacity.
Exactly. The audacity, the motivation to like ask me why I only do upper body when clearly there's something that happened to me, you know. And you know, I don't associate myself with those people because you know, there's a couple people from my unit. There's this guy, he pretended he fell when we were setting up a FOB after our third first sergeant got injured. Well, this one died. So, but he died, and then he pretended to fall, this guy, and he was in the warrior transition unit. And when he got back, he expected me to like talk to him and shit. And I'm like, no, dude, no, you left like month 2. You know what I mean? We were there for 9 months, you know, after that, or, you know, 6 months after that, whatever. And I just have no sympathy for those kind of people. Like, you know, I just have a different mindset when it comes to that. If you know what you're doing when you sign up, right?
That's
and
right.
if you're infantry, you know you're going to have to deploy because you're infantry. Exactly. Yeah. You have to be accountable, you know, and
you chose this.
Right. Exactly. You chose what you wanted to do. And once you found out it was too much, you chickened out and you pretended you staged a fall off of a HESCO barrier. And, you know, the chopper came and got you, and we waved to you as you were driving away from Afghanistan without any injuries. You know,
it shows forced sympathy over honor.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So, and it's weird because I'm going to tie something into that in a second, but
go ahead, please.
Yeah. So, you know, after all of that was said and done, you know, the company CO sat me down and he was like, hey, you know, you're really motivational. We want you to speak for these guys. We want you to, you know, share your story, kind of like I'm doing here. And just, you know, just let everybody know, like, there is more after. Just because you get injured doesn't mean that you have to do this or you have to do that. If you're, you know, obviously I'm not as bad as some people, but, you know, I mean, it was still a 350-pound bomb, dude. I broke my neck, C6 and C7, 5 ribs, both ankles. I got shrapnel in my elbow and my hip. Like, the list goes on. You know what I'm saying?
Almost got you.
Exactly. I almost fucking died in Afghanistan on the ground, waiting for these assholes to come get me out of the sky. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I'm sorry if I don't have any sympathy for those people that left with nothing wrong with them. I can't see it, you know? So I was there for a while doing some motivational stuff, and that didn't sound very motivational, but I promise you, when I was speaking to them, that's what it was. So after that though, I felt what it was like to be one of those people, if that makes any sense, because the people that I was really close with in Afghanistan, like in our unit in Afghanistan, after they came back, they were shady to me like that. They were acting like that towards me. And I was like, why are some of my guys acting like this towards me? Like I didn't do anything wrong. But I guess what people were saying is that I didn't get injured, and so I became one of those guys, which is really strange to me because all of them saw me laying there on the ground, you know what I mean? But it's just, it's the culture has to keep on moving. So I was really close to 3 or 4 of the guys. Like we would get together constantly. Every single day we were going out, weekends we were going out doing something, and we became best of friends. And then just to have that like taken away because I was injured is kind of crazy to me.
That probably had to fuck you up real
Yeah,
bad
exactly.
because, like, you
Exactly.
went through that really even the way you described it years later,
Right.
like, it's very
Put us
like it
right
happened
there.
yesterday, right?
Right.
And
And that,
to have
yeah.
something happen to you so crazy, and then for
Mhm.
people to come back and treat you the way that you look at people who actually are
Yep.
fucking assholes,
Faking it.
Mhm.
like, that would've fucking pissed me off, actually.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's
exactly,
tough.
and that's what it was, dude. I tried my best to try to get that back with them after they got back. I was still in a wheelchair and shit, so I would wheel myself over from the WTU to the barracks and shit and try to talk to these guys, man, and they wouldn't have anything to do with me. So I'm like, I don't know what else I can do. So at that point, I was like, all right. I mean, they don't want anything to do with me. So now they asked me if I wanted to stay and change MOSs to something else. And I was like, there's no way I would ever do anything else after this. You know what I mean? Because I've already done the best thing that you can do, which is be shot at and be out there in the field,
Yep.
have a weapon in your hands, feel what it's like to, be out there and be one of those people, one of those soldiers that, people try to emulate all the time, by playing these video games and stuff. So I just, I don't know. I felt like I reached the top, and since I got injured and I wasn't able to do it anymore, one of my bones in my ribs started growing weird. So I couldn't wear an IOTV anymore. I couldn't, like run like I used to. I can still run, but I can't, do any of those crazy things that I used to do.
Understood. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like, why should I stick around in this? And I mean, it was a good decision for me at the time, but looking back, like I wish I would have stayed in because after that, it would have been just smooth sailing, dude, because I was injured already. You know what I mean? I could have rode that out until I retired. And looking back on it, I think I acted too quickly to try to get out and away from whatever was happening. I could have made new friends. I could have done this, could have done that. But, looking back, that's one regret that I had to leaving the army. You know what I mean? Like, I wish I
Yes.
would have just stayed. Um, but that's in the past, obviously, and here I am today. But
Hold on.
yeah, sure.
What you just did, you actually paused really intimately when you were going back to that decision in that time.
Mm.
Is that decision still something that weighs on you?
Yeah, I think about it a lot. I mean, I'm not doing bad today. I'm doing great. I'm well off. I do what I need to do. I've got my 2 kids, my wife, all that stuff. We got a nice house. But I do look back at a couple things, throughout the military and stuff. I was still young, dude. When I joined, I was only 20. You know what I mean? I'm 35 now. So I've got a lot more life experience now. And looking back, seeing how immature I acted towards some of the things that I had to deal with when I was that young, it kind of still gets to me, but there's nothing you can do. And you kind of just have to keep on moving forward and, just try to make the best out of the decisions that you did make. You know what I mean? So,
Fantastic. That's a great attitude.
yeah. So,
So it's good. It's so it makes sense. Like you feel like you could have been different, but the thing is, what you can do with that now is take that. And by the way, I'm just thinking. Tell me
no, you're
if
good.
this isn't
Yeah.
what you're doing.
Mhm.
But it's almost like it sounds like to me you're learning from the mistakes, right? Like you acted in a way that you wish you didn't, and if another opportunity, of course, it's not going to be like the military, but if something else comes up where you need to make a decision kind of similar to that, you will have now a learning experience by
Mhm.
which you can operate differently on.
Right.
Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
Good. Okay. So you're
Yeah.
turning a negative into a positive, and fuck yeah. There's another guy on here. You can't see his comment. because it's on Instagram. But Ray,
Mhm.
he's a recon Marine. He's actually been on our retreats,
Okay.
which you should come on a retreat,
Yeah, I'll
by the
think
way.
about it,
But
man.
yeah, yeah. But Ray said, "I love that takeaway. Relate to that hard." Actually, Ray's story is pretty incredible too. It does actually remind me, by the way, Ray, talking to you directly, his story does remind me a lot of yours as well,
Mhm.
minus the injury part. He wasn't blown up, but there's a lot of similarities to even the upbringing.
Mhm.
He ended up going on a fishing boat and then almost drowning in the ocean, and then got out and then went to the Marine Corps and became a recon Marine.
Gotcha.
But yeah, like there's a lot of similarities between the two of you actually with the stories here that are I would love to connect you with
And the
him
way you
actually at some
think
point.
as
And the
well.
way you think. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
He's from a little bit yeah, he said don't think too hard, go on the retreat. That's what he
All
said,
right.
dude. Yo, I'll actually make sure if you do decide
Mm.
that you want to go on a retreat, I want to make sure that we get Ray out because
All
Ray
right,
is now
yeah.
a retreat leader
Oh,
that
cool.
we
All right.
yeah. So he's somebody that I trust to send out on stuff now too. So
Yeah, awesome.
I would make sure you two are on the same retreat. I would pair you guys up fucking for sure.
Cool, cool.
He said I was blown up by my BC. Uh, um,
That's funny.
but so yeah, man, I see that you're taking it's actually a very stoic approach, not to call it that, but I'm gonna call it that. It's very important. Like you're taking a very stoic approach, right? You're like,
Mhm,
look, I know where I fucked up. I know what I did wrong. I know
mhm,
how I acted here. I know that I was fucking literally broken. My body
mhm.
was broken.
Yeah,
It sucks how I was treated when I got back. But I have a question for you about that because that
sure,
sounds like the thing that's really hitting hard.
sure.
Do you to this day still hold a grudge against those guys, or do you recognize that's just how they had to think to survive?
No, it's funny that you asked that because even after that situation, once I got out of the army and I medically retired, I moved to Colorado, and one of the guys he was actually the best man at my wedding, and that's what really pissed me off the most is like him and I were super close, dude. We were, me and him, we were doing everything together. Anyway, not only was he my best man, but he was for real my best man. Like we were bros, and when I moved to Colorado, I found out that he lived there and he didn't contact me. So I was like, what the hell, dude? I got to find out what his problem is. If he wants to fight me, we could fight. We could do whatever he wants to do, you know.
I love that shit.
Like we got to figure this shit out because I was like, I was your best friend and now all of a sudden you don't talk to me. So there's got to be something that I'm not privy to. I don't know what the hell's going on with you.
Sure.
So I contact his girlfriend, who that's how I found out because he doesn't have social media and stuff. So I saw
Smart.
he was in Springs, and I was like, let me just reach out, dude. And he gave me his number and all this stuff, and he would avoid all of my questions. It was like he was a different guy. You know what I mean? He didn't have many tattoos and stuff. He was still kind of him before he joined the military, and then after Afghanistan kind of changed him, I think, is what happened. And that's kind of how I was able to let it go and knock it up as like, all right, well, it wasn't really him. It was just what he went through, and that's kind of what it is. Because I
That's
know
another guy that needs to be on a retreat to meet some other dudes, man.
right, exactly.
Seriously.
And I do have another guy, Josh. Actually, he lives in Colorado Springs too. The one that I told you about in the beginning,
Yeah.
that him and I were really close, and he's in the Air Force and stuff. Well, he was a medic attached to an
Not the
infantry.
skinwalker.
Yeah, exactly. Not that guy. Uh, but he was a medic in the Air Force attached to an infantry unit, and he's not the same either. And I try to help him, with his VA ratings and stuff like that. And he just won't have any part of it, dude. And they're just completely different people, And it's weird how some people can kind of maintain who they were, and others just they kind of lose themselves and they become this person that doesn't more introverted, and they don't want anything to do with anybody. They think that they're dealing with this alone, when in fact other people were there with you. You know what I'm saying? Like if you need help, being a man and asking somebody for help doesn't mean that you're a bitch. You know what I mean? It just means
They are
that,
one and the same, in fact.
right. I mean, it just means that you you need help and you're
That's right.
reaching out for it. How do I know what you need if you don't tell me? You know what I'm
That's
saying?
right.
So it's just, it was a bunch of that, after I got back. And then him and we talked for about 2 weeks. And then after that, I was like, all right, well, he doesn't want anything to continue. He doesn't want to be my friend anymore. So I was like, all right, that's it. I did what I needed to do to make sure I was at peace with how things ended. You know what I'm saying? Especially because him and I were so close, and it sucks that it's like that, because we were real close, I mean, and it's hard to find people like that in the normal world that have dealt with something like that and can have similar interests and, things that they can talk about with you. All everybody wants to talk about nowadays is if you're a Republican or a Democrat. And I don't have anything to do with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to, I'm trying to find somebody that I can be a friend with that, has similar interests and, things like that have kind of been through the same thing. And, I take my kids to daycare every day and I see the dads that walk in there and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I do not want to be with those guys. You know what I'm saying? I see them and they just,
I get it.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, who the hell are these guys, man?
Hey, listen, fuck that guy. I'll be your best man.
Yeah, dude. Hell
Let's
yeah.
fucking do
That's what I'm
this.
saying, man.
Play dates.
Right, exactly. Yeah, come on over anytime, man. And that's just kind of how I was looking at it. And then, once I got out of the military, it took me a
Wait,
little.
can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Really important, actually. When you say, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
No,
I
you're
was
fine.
thinking, and I'd stopped listening, which I don't like to. I like to listen. So when you say you show up to, because this has to be a point, because he immediately was like, "Yeah, I fucking know exactly." I mean, explain for me and out loud say what you mean when you say when you look at other like dads showing up and stuff,
Yeah.
like why you can't connect with those guys.
They're not on the same level as me. I am motivated to be the best version of me. I am constantly trying to find groups of people that I can interact with, have conversations with, be around, and I'm trying to be inclusive with everybody. I don't give a shit what you look like. I don't care. If you're a cool person, you're a cool person. I'll hang out with you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Character.
Exactly. Yeah. And these dads that come in there, they're just, I don't know, they're sloppy, they look messy, they just do this because they have to. They don't teach their kids anything. Their kids are running around fucking screaming a mess all over the place. Exactly. Yeah, it's just like they're drones that are just coming in and all this stuff. And I tried to I mean, they very well could be, but I tried to make contact with one of them who I thought would be pretty cool, and it all just ends the same exact way. You talk to them to their face and they're like, "Oh yeah, man, we should chill, we should hang out and all that shit." I was like, "Yeah, you guys come over, cook out. We got a nice fire pit in the backyard. I'll cook something up. We just get to know each other. You know what I mean? That's it." And nothing ever comes out of that with these normal people, I mean, with the people that I meet out there. And that's why I say that they're different than I am, because if I see something, I don't have a filter, and not in the point of like saying whatever I want. I just don't have a filter as to like, I'm scared to go talk to somebody because of what they might say. You know what I'm saying? Like how some people are afraid to go and talk to a girl or whatever it may be. I'm not afraid to do that. And if I think you're a cool person, I'm like, "Hey, you're a cool person. Let's get together and go drink some beers, or let's go do this." And they may take that the wrong way and think like, "What the fuck is this guy doing?" So I just can't, it's hard for me now. It's harder for me now, and it might be just because I'm older and I don't have a lot of interactions with older people. But it's harder for me now to find a friend than it used to be, because I think I'm more picky about the people that I want to hang around with. Because now I know that I have two kids. I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and I don't want them to go over to some Joe Schmo's house and just,
And Joe Schmo is a pedophile.
Exactly, a pedophile, or
yeah.
I mean, a pedophile, or they, just let their kids do whatever. I walk in.
There's no discipline, right?
Exactly. These kids are screaming, running up and down the hall, smacking their parents in the face and shit. And I'm like, please, I wish you would, and that's just, my daughters are well behaved. They, they do exactly what they need to do. They go to school, they come home, and, they still watch the iPad and stuff. They still have a good time. We slept out in the tent last night. I mean, it's just like, it's just impossible. It feels impossible to.
You just defended yourself, by the way, for being a father that instills discipline in their kids and rules and boundaries. And that everything you're kind of going through right now, I also feel our society as a whole, what you're alluding to is, what a real community is, what a real team is. You've been a part of that. You've
Mhm.
been a part of it where, you know, this guy next to you is willing to fucking go die for you. You're coming back and you trust that guy, right? And that's another reason why I feel like I'm finding this common thread for you. Like, you were broken by the fact that these dudes that you served with after you got injured looked at you differently. You come back home, you're trying to make that same connection with somebody. It's actually still like you're still struggling in that void of like, who the fuck can actually be on my side again?
Mhm.
Right. And
Yeah.
that is a lonely place to be. But here's something I really want to make sure that like I get out, that to let you know, that is exactly why we're here today, to start spreading the message of like, yo, people, wake the fuck up. Like,
Mhm.
it's okay to be a part of a community. It's okay to go hang out with fucking buyers who's telling you, yo, I'll grill some shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
we can hang out. Like, Ray said, fuck the PTA, be real, homie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But genuinely, like, that is something that, wanted to get, by the way, I want to say something to you back.
Sure.
I say don't stop trying to
Mhm.
be, obviously, yes, you are 100% correct. You have to protect your kids and shit. You have to know who you're bringing around, who you're leaving around your kids and stuff like that. But the fact that you want to be someone that wants to be a center of a community, or not center of a community, but be a part of a community, that's actually a fucking gift. And that this nation, your community around you, needs. I'm not trying to get preachy here, but that's genuine. That's my personal motivation for
Mhm.
why I'm trying to start Refit, is to remind you, veteran, that you motherfucker are a leader. You
Mhm.
obviously shared with us so many things of how you are one. And then you're sitting there telling me, man, it's just hard doing. Yeah, it is hard being a leader. It is hard being someone that sees the world for what it is. It's
Mhm.
very hard. It doesn't mean that you don't stop continuing. It doesn't mean you don't stop trying, right? Like,
Right.
you have the courage to fucking continue to try. You have the courage to be able to do that. You've proven yourself beyond a shadow of a doubt. So leadership, 100%. That's what leadership is, right? I'm reading what Ray said over here too.
Okay, gotcha.
That's exactly what that is, dude. Like, you have the innate traits, you know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I personally want to encourage you to not quit doing that, right? Like, that is such a great thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's a gift that you have, that heart that wants to give back in that way.
Mhm.
You know, like, you're a big dude. I'm actually starting to see that you are a big dude. I can see that in your shoulders and shit now. Like, I was like, this guy's talking about lifting shit. I can't tell how
No.
big you are. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but I can see in your arm when you lifted your arm up. I was like, all right, boy's got some
Yeah.
tone to him. You know what I mean? Like, he's got something on him. Man meat, as you said earlier.
There you go,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah.
I don't like to flaunt it too much, man. I'm undercover, all right?
Yeah, undercover my ass. Your shirt's as tight as a fucking Under Armour
Hey,
shirt.
this is an XL, man, so leave me alone, dude.
It's an XL. It's an XL. It's still tight. Got it. No,
Yeah.
I'm playing. But genuinely, that the things you're saying, I feel like you needed to hear that. I don't know. I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
felt like you needed to hear those things,
Mm,
because that's what I'm picking up a line from when you were a kid. You noticed when you were a kid, you noticed some things were off. You didn't want to be a certain way.
right.
And then when you were in the military, you actually became the protector, community member, fighter that you wanted to be. You
Right.
literally lived in a dream moment. You were grateful to be there to
Yeah.
protect a guy that was injured, guys, people that
Mhm.
were
Right.
injured,
Right.
right?
Yep.
Like, those are moments that you remember, those moments in time that you remember are so fucking critical to your growth and to your now who you are, instilling leadership, instilling discipline, instilling all those things in your kids and protecting your kids and your family.
Mm,
Dude, even the way you actually praise your ex-wife, even though sure there's probably things that went awry or whatever, you even said that. You're like, but I
mm,
don't want to sit here and talk shit. That's a leadership trait. That's a lead. I will never talk shit on my ex, dude. I just will not do it. Right.
right.
Like, I even say, like, I'll love her till I die. Like, that's cool. That's the way I like to operate. Like,
Mm,
if she ever needs me, she can hit me up. I'm never going to talk shit on her ever. Right. Like, she is a human being who went through things herself in her life. I'm not going to do it. I refuse. Right. Because she was also a good person too. There's also some things about her that are good. Right. Like, a lot of things. Right.
mm,
I don't want to like diminish, but you have that, brother. Like, that is who you are. So I just, without a shadow of a doubt, please continue to try to, be a leader in your community, bro. Like, you still are, I don't want to say this, but like it's kind of true. You still are serving in a way the nation that you also served in uniform. Like you
Mhm.
can still do that. You can still be a leader in your house or in even in your community.
And the
So
coolest part about the entire thing is that like
you're a gangster.
no, it's just it's and I feel this on an equal level. Just the way you talk about everything, about
Mm,
talking about like just hanging out with a random dude, is you think the way that you are is the normal, and you're just trying to find somebody else that's normal, and that's like very humble. You know what I mean? I
Oh,
think
yeah.
true.
that's respectful to perceive about you. Like I perceive that about you, and I respect it because uh normal to us is not normal to everybody else.
Right.
And to search for somebody that we think is normal, just that shares the same views and shares the same um you know respectful attitude towards anybody else, and that just genuinely wants to know just good-hearted people, which is why my friends list is that big now.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I have a 2-year-old daughter, I have a 7-year-old son, and I have a almost 10-year-old son. So I'm the same way. I'm very picky and choosy about who I want to be around, but
Yeah.
I very much respect the fact that you think the way that you do,
Yeah.
and you're not like, no, I just want to be around veterans that know who I've been through. No, I don't give a fuck
Mm.
who you are. You're
Right.
a good person.
Yep.
Let's have dinner.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I don't plan on giving up, obviously, because I'm not that
Right,
kind
right,
of
right.
guy. But yeah, I mean, like I was just saying, it's a little bit harder. And it's funny because now I've actually found somebody. Now, granted, he is a retired cop, so he does kind of have like, and
Yeah.
I guess he was in the Navy or something like that too. I don't know if that counts or not, but uh,
Oh yeah.
I'm
That
just
was cool.
I'm just
That
messing with
was
you.
cool.
But no. So it's funny because after I got out, I didn't really know what I was going to do with myself, and that's kind of, I was, after I got out of the military, that's when I had the hardest time. Like I was just chilling at the house. I wasn't doing anything, and that's kind of what attributed to the demise of my first relationship. Right. For months
Sure.
and months and months after I got out, I was just literally sitting behind a computer screen, just like trying to get out of my own head or do this or do that, because of the headspace that I was in, because of everything that had happened. You know what I mean? I think I was still processing everything and trying to figure out what the hell I'm going to do now that I'm out. Um,
Mm,
so then I met up with these pretty cool people. They are handmade by heroes. What they do is they hire military veterans who have been injured or got out or something like that, and they have a contract with all of like the NFL teams, MLB teams, the NHL teams, stuff like that, and they allow you to work for them at your home. You make these like paracord bracelets that you can use for like safety and survival and all that stuff. And they actually, when I first started, dude, they would they would give you $8 a bracelet, and me and my brother were killing those things. We were making like 200,
Hey,
236 a
fucking
week or
dope.
some shit like that, man. So we were killing it. But then it started to get more political and your pay started to decrease. So that's when I left. After that, I started working at the hospital in a care unit, in the locked unit, which is the craziest thing I've ever done in Colorado. There's a lot of transients in Colorado. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that area,
Oh yeah.
Colorado Springs area.
Yep. Yep.
So I was working in the Care for locked unit. So that's the unit where if you're drunk, they put you in there. You're locked in there for 3 days. If you're in Care Unit 4, they will lock your ass in there for 3 days. Like that's it. You don't get out. You're done. And they would bring people in off the streets, transients, because it was cold outside, and what they would do is fall over in the road, have an ambulance pick them up, and then they'd spend 3 days in the hot, get food and have some place to sleep. And that was an eye-opening experience there. There's a lot of people coming in on drugs and stuff like that, and that's how I actually found out Colorado was super bad, man. And I didn't see it right while I was living there, but as I started noticing it in the hospital, I started noticing it all around. They had these encampments everywhere. It was a terrible place. I wanted to get the hell out of there, man. So after my ex-wife and I divorced, I ended up moving back to Ohio. I was born and raised here in Ohio. And, that's where I was like, all right, I really need to find something that I want to do now. So I put myself in school using the GI Bill.
cool.
I started going one way, changed my mind, went the other way. So, couple years ago, I got my bachelor's in criminal justice. Right. So I was like, all right, I want to be a cop. But then I was like, wait a minute, if I become a cop, I'll be in the same mindset that I was. And I don't know if I want to revisit that. I don't know how I'll react in a situation that I might not have reacted in a certain way before. you know, because I have trauma now, right? So I didn't want to be biased towards someone if I'm interacting with them and they act a certain way, and I don't want to jump the gun and accidentally put my hands on somebody if I didn't need to,
Very
you know,
impressive.
shit like that. So
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'm not going to do that. So then I went back to school and I got another bachelor's degree in cinematology, right? So I'm sorry, cinematography.
We
So
got you.
now, yeah, exactly. I mean,
It's the biology of a camera. I
exactly right.
understand.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's a
exactly, man.
living being.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the
yeah.
parts on the inside that count, man.
Yeah.
So I did that, right? So then I was like, what the hell am I going to do with this, man? I was like, it was great. It was fun while I was in school. They sent me a free camera. I'm shooting all sorts of crazy shit. And then, dude, just one day I was like, I'm just going to start this business. So I started Media Masters Ohio, and now we shoot constantly. You know,
That's really
and
cool.
my dad, well, my stepdad, I call him my dad because it's weird because this guy that I called my dad, his name is Greg. He was my dad's best friend. They grew up together. So, but Greg is the complete opposite of my real dad. You know, my dad's way over here, crazy as shit, jumping off buildings, doing weird shit. And
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
Greg is over here and he has like a 895 credit score. You know what I'm saying? Like he's just two
Yeah.
completely different guys. And so, you know, him and I, after I got back out of the military, we got really close, and they forced him to retire from the park system, so it cut into his pension and stuff like that. So then, you know, him and I started hanging out. We were doing some ghost hunting and stuff. I don't want to get too much into that, but you know, we're on a team here in Ohio, and we do that a little bit together. And so that's kind of what got me motivated to get my degree, is, you know, just wanting to know more about how cameras work and things like that. And now I think I'm pretty good at it. But I let him work with me, and, you know, it kind of helps supplement some of that loss that he incurred after the park system, you know, made him retire early and he lost some of his pension. So, you know, him and I have been working together ever since. And you know, I've got a full-time job now too. Also, I am a damage investigator. I do damage investigations for Spectrum. So I do buried cables and aerial cable damages. I don't have a boss really. I get it. My phone rings. I pick it up. I go take pictures and do the investigation, turn the claim in. As long as I turn it in with 14 days, that's it. I don't hear from anybody. I can wake up when I want, go to sleep when I want, go when I want, you know. So this is the perfect, I literally found the perfect job for me, man. And I don't know how the hell I found it. I did one day. I don't know.
That's
But
very cool.
that's kind of where I'm at now. You know, we own a house, and, you know, like I was saying before, we have 2 dogs. I have 2 daughters, and everything now is based on the fact that I took a leap when I was younger and put myself out there and took myself away from my family, you know, and, you know, just did my own thing and didn't become a victim to Cleveland, Ohio, and all of this bullshit that everybody says, oh, if you're in Cleveland, you can't succeed. Well, that's bullshit because I live there. You know what I mean? I'm literally an example of what you could do as long as you try to do what you put your mind to. If you don't do anything, like half of my friends that I was telling you about, they're all dead now because of drugs. So there's like 1 or 2 guys left, and they're on their way out too. So I mean, you can either separate yourself from the bunch and do what you need to do, or you can just play a victim like everybody likes to play, man. That's it.
It's easy to do that.
Yeah.
So so give us the for my life moment. I think you gave us a bunch, but
Yeah.
sum it up for us, and then we're gonna call it.
What kind of moment you looking for here?
When you recognize you were for your life, like you were like, damn, I'm grateful I'm alive. I'm here. I have so much to live for. Like this is it.
Okay. Yeah. So that's definitely, you know, after my kids were born, you know, not
I
just one,
love
but
that.
both of them. And, you know, it's tough because they're both girls. You know, I really wanted a boy. Um,
Infantryman's curse, right? Isn't that what
right.
that is?
It's gotta
Yeah,
be.
but I broke that. I
Oh,
broke it.
did you? Good for
Yeah, I
you,
got
man.
2 boys and then a girl.
Damn, nice. Okay. Anyway, I guess I'm stuck with it, but, you know, I'm not really stuck with it because they're my babies, man, you know, and it just, I don't know. I'm just grateful because, you know, I was told after sitting so close to those microwave boxes that my shit wouldn't work right. And, you know, that's all lies. So, but, you know, I
Try
ended up,
again,
yeah,
dude.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got 2 kids now, you know, they're great. You know, and that's why I do what I do. That's why I work so hard. That's why I wake up in the morning and
That's
do
dope.
everything that I need to do, and more. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get back down to Florida here soon. So, you know, I'm working really hard, doing stocks, doing this, doing that, just trying to make extra money so we can get back down there where I know we'll be happy. Plus, Ohio's cold as shit, man. I got arthritis everywhere. So if I stay here much longer, I'll probably turn into a corpse. I got to get down where it's hot, man. You know, when it's cold, I can't move. In the winter, I got to wear one of those heated jackets all the time. Can't move my neck and stuff. It's terrible, dude. So I got to get out of here.
That's like one of our other guys, Rob. That's why he had to move to Florida.
Yeah.
He was blown up, and something else happened to him where he almost like got severed in half, and like he's a Ranger, and he also moved to Florida because of his injuries. So
gotcha. Yeah, I mean that's the place to go. I mean it's nice down there. We used to live down there in Sarasota, and it's great, man. I love the fishing down there. Everything.
I think that's exactly where he lives right now. I think he lives in Sarasota. I swear to God, yeah.
Nice. Yeah,
I think he
awesome.
lives in Sarasota.
Yeah,
that's right on the.
It's right by Siesta Key.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You go up, and then it's a part of that little strip of Florida, right?
I don't know if it's still in Florida. I don't know if it's like a little island portion or not. I'm not Matt privy. I don't know, man. I couldn't tell you.
I'm describing it wrong. You know how Florida? Let me look it up real quick.
All right.
But yeah, dude, that's cool. I could be wrong, by the way. I think looking at the way that is angled, I'm way off. Yep, I'm way. He's hundreds of miles away from you.
Okay. Is he north or south?
He's north. He's a part of the. He's near. He's somewhere. He's fucking north. He's
okay.
You know how Florida goes up and then over?
Yeah.
He's a part of that little hook.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, at the top of the Gulf. But dude, thank you so much for coming here today. I really do appreciate it. I love your story.
You got a great head on your shoulders.
You have I was going to say that you have such an impressive way of looking at life, the way you've learned from your past, and how you don't hold anybody really. You don't hold grudges except for the guy that sat on your ankle. He definitely that guy needs to get punched in the face.
No,
for sure.
that guy. I don't know.
Yeah, he definitely needs to get punched. But
at least an Article 15 or something. You know what I mean? Something. He's got to have something.
If your nickname for your fist is Article 15, then
yeah. Okay. All right.
All right. So, but genuinely, dude, like you have a really good head on your shoulders, and it's really fucking impressive. I think even just I know I mentioned it to you. I was joking the first time I said it, was dead serious the second time I said it, and the third time. And I'm going to say it again. You should definitely consider coming on a retreat with us. And I'll make sure that you get hooked up with Ray, because Ray and your story are so fucking similar, dude. And he and I have we have philosophical fucking conversations all the time and shit. Mm-hmm. But on the other side of it, not saying you're not, a person that likes philosophy, or I don't know that about you yet or not, but you have this side of him that I believe is like the I'm a fucking soldier, I'm a business owner, and I'm just like, I have kids and everything, blah, blah, blah. Like there's a whole other side. I think you two will be able to really vibe with each other. As you were speaking, I was like, dude, he's
very motivated.
Yeah, dude, he's motivated.
Like, I'm here, I'm alive. I need to do
Let's
the best
fucking
that I can.
Continue
right now.
forward. Yeah. Exactly right. Yeah. Even though he still struggles with shit himself, and he can share that with you, but it's very much like I'm moving forward type mentality. And, and I'm sure you probably have moments where you struggle yourself too, but you're still in that motivated, I'm moving forward, getting better mentality. It's something I also resonate with. I mean, I know I'm a civilian, but, talking about accountability and like, I decided to do this. This is my life. This is what I want to do with it. That was another thing I really took away from you, man, is like, you're very much in the accountability space. Like if you can't be accountable to your actions and your decisions, then the fuck am I doing around you?
Right.
I really appreciate that, man. Thank you again for coming on today. Again, everybody, this is FML by Project Refit. Usually means fuck my life. It's for my life. And that's what we like to say here is, how can I be for my life?
Hey, hold on one second. This guy, Tanner, I wanted to respond to him because he said, APOBs, that's what it is. It's an anti-personnel obstacle breaching system. He got it. That's right.
Tanner's another
fucking suck, dude.
Yeah, he's another great dude, by the way.
Okay, good.
Tanner's actually been on a couple of retreats.
Montana.
Yeah, Tanner Montana. Tanner just led a retreat with me out in South Dakota. Actually, like a month ago now. or 2 months ago now, technically.
Nice. Okay.
And we're actually doing another one going out to Washington with the roaming vet. We already had it's a full roster. It's kind of crazy.
Cool.
I think we have like 22 people that we're going to be taking out there. So we got to raise some fucking money.
Oh, nice, man.
Oh shit.
Well, I got 10 days off coming soon, so maybe we'll link up and try to make something happen.
Let's go, dude. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, we're going to we're actually going to be planning on doing something. Another survival and healing retreat. It'll be 6 retreats this year, a target of 84 people that we helped out this year with the retreats alone.
Awesome.
And in total, I think it's actually over 800 now individuals will be able to contact, train, support, and guide this year, which is fucking absurd.
Gotcha.
But anyway, man, again, I definitely want to have a further conversation with you offline and get to know you even more, and would love to have you, join us and check out, what we're doing here. But if not for nothing, would love to have you back on FML again too at some point to get a catch up with you.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Anytime you guys let me know.
Awesome, brother. Thank you, everybody. And you can stay on. We're going to say goodbye to you off the in backstage, I guess. But winter break between semesters, just saying. All right, Ray. Got you. I think that's a Montana reference. You want to lead a Montana retreat? But yeah, brother, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you so much. You got anything?
Nope. Thank you for tuning in. My one shout out would be to Jake if he's still online. But other than that, thanks for tuning in.